Wednesday Addams, the protagonist of the show, is a peculiar girl who is known for her lack of emotion, fascination with death, and gothic fashion sense. At only 13 years old, Wednesday's strange behavior is apparent from the start when she arrives at her high school with a creepy expression on her face. When Wednesday opens her locker, she finds her brother Pugsley bound and gagged with an apple in his mouth, and she pushes him out. Suddenly, Wednesday has a vision that reveals who tortured her brother. This scene reveals that Wednesday is not a normal child, as she has the ability to see someone's past and future by touching them. Upon discovering that a group of bullies from the swim team are responsible for torturing her brother, Wednesday enters the swimming room with 2 bags full of piranhas and casually releases them into the pool. The bullies swim for their lives in terror as Wednesday makes it clear that no one is allowed to pick on her brother except for her. In the next scene, Wednesday's parents, Morticia and Gomez, are introduced. The two are tired of their daughter's mischievous behavior and have decided to send her to the prestigious Nevermore Academy. At this academy, all students have supernatural abilities and are taught how to control them. Morticia and Gomez also attended the Nevermore Academy, implying that they have superpowers as well. As they send Wednesday to the academy, a hiker sets off on a solo journey through the woods nearby. Unfortunately, an unknown creature attacks and kills the hiker, and the local sheriff later finds the mutilated body and begins investigating the area. It is surprising to learn that this gruesome murder is not the first of its kind, as there have been many similar incidents recently. Wednesday then arrives at the academy and meets the principal, Larissa Weems, who efficiently runs the school. Weems introduces Wednesday to her roommate, Enid, a werewolf who is the complete opposite of Wednesday in every way. Enid is a practical, down-to-earth girl with bright decorations in her side of the room, while Wednesday is drawn to all things black and gothic. Enid gives Wednesday a tour of the academy, introducing her to the main school groups, Fangs, Furs, Stoners, and Scales. Enid also introduces Wednesday to the most popular girl in school, Bianca Barclay, a beautiful siren, and her ex-boyfriend, Xavier Thorpe, a death artist who can bring his drawings to life. As the Addams family leaves in their car, Gomez releases Thing, a living hand that has been severed from its body. Thing is assigned to watch over Wednesday. The next day, Wednesday joins fencing class and faces off against Bianca. After a bit of back and forth, the girls end up with equal points, so they decide to remove their masks and fight until one of them draws blood. A fierce battle ensues, with both girls evenly matched. However, Bianca ultimately emerges victorious when she slashes a small cut on Wednesday's face. Later, as Wednesday leaves the infirmary after receiving medical attention, she is almost crushed to death by a falling stone gargoyle. Fortunately, Xavier arrives just in time and pushes Wednesday out of the way. When Wednesday returns to her room, she suspects that someone is watching her and searches the room, eventually finding the hand, Thing. Upon realizing that it is her parents who sent Thing to keep an eye on her, Wednesday threatens to lock Thing in a drawer unless it is loyal to her. Thing is terrified and vows to be loyal. As punishment for Wednesday's piranha prank, she is required to attend mandatory therapy sessions. Principal Larissa drives Wednesday to her therapy session in Jericho, a small town outside of Nevermore. During the session, Wednesday does not disclose any personal information and instead has another plan in mind. Wednesday excuses herself to go to the bathroom and escapes through the window. Outside, she accidentally runs into a man and has a vision of his death. Frightened, Wednesday goes to a nearby coffee shop where she meets the sheriff's son, Tyler, who is also a barista and is having trouble with the espresso machine. The instructions for the espresso machine are in Italian, but Wednesday is able to read Italian and easily fixes the device. In return, she asks Tyler for a ride to the nearest bus stop, but before he can respond, a group of bullies wearing pilgrim costumes arrives at the store and taunts Wednesday. Wednesday initially tries to ignore the bullies, but eventually fights back and easily defeats them. Principal Larissa and the sheriff arrive at the store and see the destruction, and Larissa angrily scolds Wednesday before driving her away from the town. On the way back to the academy, they pass a car wreck and realize that the victim is the same man that Wednesday saw in her vision earlier. Later that night, Wednesday plays a haunting song on her cello on the dorm balcony, with the full moon and the howling of several werewolves in the background. However, Enid, who is a werewolf herself, reveals that she is not joining the others because she cannot transform. Meanwhile, Thing visits Tyler's room and asks him to call Wednesday, which he does, and the two start a video chat. Wednesday asks Tyler to meet her at the harvest fair the next day, saying it will be fun, but really just wanting to escape the academy. At the fair, Larissa closely observes Wednesday, but the teenager still manages to meet up with Tyler. The two almost succeed in escaping, but Wednesday runs into one of her classmates, Rowan. Rowan immediately runs into the woods, and since Wednesday touched him, she has a vision of him being brutally mauled to death. Frightened, Wednesday changes her mind and goes after him to warn him, but before she can say anything, Rowan uses his telekinetic ability to lift her high into a tree. Rowan reveals that his mother, a powerful seer, had a vision of Wednesday destroying the Nevermore Academy 25 years in the future, and therefore Rowan believes he must kill her to prevent it from happening. He begins choking her telekinetically, but a large monster appears, tears Rowan apart, and disappears. Wednesday stands over Rowan's mutilated body and sees the illustration of her that his mother supposedly drew. Shortly after, police officers led by the sheriff search for Rowan's body, but are unable to find it. The sheriff does not believe Wednesday's claim that a monster attacked Rowan and thinks it was a student from Nevermore instead. An officer interrupts their conversation and, to Wednesday's surprise, Rowan is revealed to be alive. When Wednesday returns to her room, she finds that her roommate Enid is too focused on the Poe Cup competition, an annual boat racing event. Later, Wednesday tries to talk to Rowan, but Principal Larissa tells her that she has been expelled for a reason she cannot disclose. As a result, Wednesday goes back to her plan B and asks Thing to keep an eye on Rowan. The scene then shows Rowan arriving at the train station, with Thing following close behind. After looking around, Rowan covertly goes to the restroom and changes his appearance to that of an old man. Unfortunately, Thing loses track of him and misses this transformation. Later, the old man transforms into Principal Larissa, revealing that she is actually a shapeshifter and is covering up Rowan's murder for some reason. Without any other options, Wednesday goes into the woods to search for clues about Rowan's murder. Accompanied by Tyler, who is following his dad, Wednesday finds Rowan's glasses and, as she picks them up, has a vision. In the vision, she sees a purple book from which Rowan got the drawing. Without hesitation, Wednesday confronts her class teacher about the book and the teacher reveals that it belonged to an old student society called the Nightshades. The society mentioned earlier no longer exists. Wednesday goes to Rowan's room after school to search for the book and discovers a mask under his bed. As she tries to leave, Xavier, Rowan's roommate, enters the room. Wednesday quickly hides under the bed as Bianca, Xavier's ex, also arrives. While hiding under the bed, Wednesday overhears Xavier and Bianca's conversation and learns that Bianca intends to defeat Enid in an upcoming boat riding competition. Determined to help Enid, Wednesday decides to participate in the competition herself. The following day, Wednesday and Enid prepare for the competition. The competition has no rules, so anything goes. Bianca plans to use this to her advantage. The game involves 4 teams rowing their boats to a destination and back. The first team to reach the finish line without being knocked out of the lake wins. As the contest begins, Bianca signals to one of her friends to sabotage the other boats. One of Bianca's friends, who is revealed to be a mermaid, sabotages one of the boats by diving into the lake and destroying it. Wednesday and Enid are prepared and, with the help of Thing, they capture the mermaid. During the competition, Wednesday has another vision of a blonde version of herself. In her vision, the blonde version of herself tells Wednesday that she is the key. Confused, Wednesday returns to reality and sees that Bianca's team is in the lead. Determined to win, Wednesday and Enid decide to use Bianca's underhanded tactics against her and ultimately succeed in winning the competition. This marks the first time in 4 decades that a team not consisting of sirens has won the esteemed competition. Enid and her team are later honored by Principal Larissa and presented with the Poe Cup trophy. Wednesday, however, becomes overwhelmed by the attention and seeks refuge with Edgar Allan Poe, a former student of Nevermore Academy. While with Poe, Wednesday notices a symbol etched on the stone book he is holding, which is the same symbol she saw in a picture given to her by Rowan before his death. Wednesday is able to quickly solve a series of riddles etched in the book and find a clue that instructs her to snap twice. When she follows this instruction and snaps her fingers twice, a secret corridor suddenly opens, revealing a hidden chamber. While in the hidden chamber, Wednesday finds Rowan's book, which contained the picture that he had torn out. She puts the book in her backpack, but before she can explore further, someone throws a black sack over her head. When the sack is removed, she finds herself surrounded by Bianca, Xavier, and several other students who are members of the Nightshades Club. It turns out that the Nightshades Club, which was previously disbanded, was secretly reinstated by Principal Larissa. Xavier urges Wednesday to join their group, but she immediately declines and walks away. In the following scene, Principal Larissa announces the annual outreach day, during which Nevermore Academy students will have to interact with normies by working at their establishment. Upon arriving in town, Wednesday tells Xavier that she thinks his roommate may have been murdered. Xavier doesn't believe Rowan is dead because he was only expelled. Despite this, Wednesday shows him the picture drawn by Rowan's mother. Xavier looks closely at the picture and reveals that the man in it is actually the founder of Jericho, Joseph Crackstone. Later, Wednesday decides to volunteer at the Pilgrim World, a place that holds Jericho's history. There, she meets Eugene, a young boy she had befriended in the beekeeping club. The two quickly start talking and observing their surroundings. Soon, the students are approached by Miss Arlene, the caretaker of the Pilgrim World. This Arlene gives the students a tour and talks about some of the beloved artifacts of Joseph Crackstone. Wednesday asks more about the artifacts and learns that they include original farm tools, tableware, and even the family chamber pot. She expresses an interest in working at the Pilgrim World, but is told that it is currently undergoing renovations. Instead, the students are all assigned to work at the Ye Old Fudgery, distributing fudge and cakes to local tourists. Later, with the help of Eugene, Wednesday sneaks into the Crackstone family chamber. She finds a painting of the old meeting house, which includes the girl from her vision. Shortly afterward, she also finds the book that the girl was carrying. However, when she notices that the pages are blank, she suspects that it is a fake. Just then, the caretaker Arlene arrives and catches Wednesday in the chamber. Wednesday asks about the original book, and Arlene hesitantly reveals that it was stolen last month. Later, Tyler and Wednesday reunite at the coffee shop. Wednesday inquires about Joseph Crackstone, and Tyler tells her that the remains of the original meeting house are located in the woods. The original meeting house is now a ruin and is used as a crash pad by meth heads. Wednesday and Thing immediately set out into the woods to search for Joseph Crackstone's place. They eventually find it and encounter a homeless man, but Thing chokes him and scares him away. Suddenly, Wednesday has a vision. In this vision, Wednesday travels 400 years into the past and sees the blonde girl from her earlier vision. She is surrounded by villagers who are calling her the devil's spawn. Joseph Crackstone then appears and addresses her as Goody Addams, accusing her of being a witch and condemning her to die in a barn filled with other accused individuals, including her mother. In response, Goody accuses the villagers of stealing their land, slaughtering the innocent, and robbing them of their peaceful spirit. Enraged, Joseph stares at her for a moment before setting the barn on fire. Goody tries to free her mother, but all of her efforts are in vain. Eventually, when there seems to be no hope left, she escapes through a hidden door. While this is happening, Wednesday observes the events in the barn alongside Goody and the other accused individuals. Goody tells Wednesday that Joseph will not stop until he has killed them all. Upon waking up from her lengthy vision, Wednesday explains everything to Thing. Suddenly, they see the same monster that killed Rowan lurking behind them. Wednesday chases it in the rain, but is unable to keep up. She follows the footprints, which unexpectedly transform into those of a human. This revelation leads her to suspect that the monster is actually a human. She then runs into Xavier and tells him what she saw. Xavier wants to examine the tracks, but the rain has already washed them away. The following day, everyone gathers in the town square for the unveiling of a new statue dedicated to Joseph Crackstone. Wednesday plays an instrumental version of Fleetwood Mac's Don't Stop with the Jericho marching band while the mayor and Larissa announce the statue. However, disaster strikes when Thing, at Wednesday's command, sets the statue on fire while others run away in horror. Wednesday's eyes gleam with vengeance as she plays the cello. Later, Principal Larissa angrily confronts Wednesday, suspecting that she caused the incident. However, Wednesday denies any wrongdoing and instead accuses Larissa of failing to acknowledge the racist origins of Jericho. That night, the homeless man from earlier is attacked by the monster, and his camera begins taking pictures of the incident. Moments later, the sheriff and his crew arrive at the forest ruins and find the homeless man dead. They find footage on his camera that may reveal the face of the killer. After developing the photos, the sheriff sees that the killer is a monster born from nightmares.
Watch next and see how after 1,000 years in captivity, a troll awakens in modern-day Norway and begins attacking the city. Please subscribe and turn on notifications to see more videos like this. Thanks for watching.